southwest of Kenya, rocky beaches in a land with a rocky skyline and a home to the Abamuhuru, sub-tribe of the Abasuba community, a nation whose language, history, and culture is on the verge of extinction. They survived a displacement wave when the Africans Viking of the North, the Luo community, arrived and settled along the shores of Lake Victoria. And for the Abamuhuru to stay put and outnumbered, they paid the price of assimilation by the Luo community. 81-year-old former teacher and a retired forestry officer, Simon Ogada Orondo, narrates their untold history.
Okay. My name Simon Ogada Orondo from Muhuru Bay. I come from a clan called Limanche. Limanche is one of the clans in Muhuru, the original clans of the Muhuru people. And Muhuru people are called Abamuhuru. So that is our original name. Now we live in Muhuru. We have clans, several clans in Muhuru, but there were 4 major clans. Now if you want to know about Muhuru Bay, Muhuru is a country that is unique because it has got a lot of hills. And the hills we have, these rocky hills, they have got a lot of significance about the historical background of Muhuru. If I may start, that the Abamuhuru people occupied this place around 1700. That is how we estimate it when they came. And they came even much earlier before the Luos came to Nyanza. And we came from a place called Rwancha, where we sojourned before, after coming from, the present Ramogi area. That is where Abamuhuru were. That is our origin. A place called Goebei near Sambe Osieko. You know Osieko in Imbo. Osieko is a place near Bunya. It's within Bunyala and Imbo in Siaya and Budalangi. Now, when we occupied that, when we came to Muhuru, or our ancestors, they were grouped according to clan, and they found, those hills you saw in Muhuru, they had caves. They had caves. And in most cases, the people lived near the lake, so the hills formed a barrier in case of enemies came. And there were several caves, and these caves were according to clans. And we say that is why the Abamuhuru existed up to this time. Otherwise, we would have been removed to southern side, but they were our protector. Unfortunately, in 1962, 63, 64 reigns, which we call the Uhuru reigns, there were long reigns which swelled the water, lake water, and submerged so many of these caves. So very few of them now remaining. And one of the most common famous cave is called Riawambaya Cave. Now Riawambaya Cave is found near at Mugabo, a place called Mugabo. Mugabo is a place called, we normally call it, or people is generally known as Uturumo, Uturumo area. So Riawambaya Cave has got a lot of significance for our people. One, it was a shrine where the old people, they went and worshipped God a long time ago. Sometimes back, if you went there, there were a lot of things, a lot of some agulini, these pots and very many things. But because of ignorance, people came and damaged them, so they are no longer there. So it was a place of some significance. It was a worship place, one of the worship places. Another one is on a hill called Nyamunda. Nyamunda is also not very far from there. The hill, that is where our original, the ancestor, came and settled. Another worship place is near Custom Town called Kigurukire. So these are where the people used to go when they wanted to do some sacrifices and so on. Apart from that, Riambaya also during war or when enemies attack, it had a door, a gate, very strong gate made with stones. So when enemies came, people would go in and wanajificha huko ndani. I mean, from this side you would go in, and then the other side, the lake. So from the lake, nobody would come there. So almost normally enemies would come from the outside. So it was very significant for the existence of Abamuhuru, and it's one of the places where which made us exist up to now. Otherwise, we would have been removed. When the Luos came, the Luo had a very strong wave. They were very rough and strong, and they forced other communities, the Basuba communities, from the now Kadem and Karungu area and Guasi. They drove them away, and some of them are now in Tanzania. So they went south. So it is the only Abamuhuru who defeated them because they couldn't. Apart from the Riawamba, they had magics. So that magical power made the enemies not to drive them away, and it forced the Luos now to come and make a treaty with the Abamuhuru. That is why we are existing up to now. Brought the peace. Now it made us now intermarry with the Luos, the Kadem people, Karungu people and others, and then peace came. In the magical power, we call it a kiranya in Kisuba, a kiranya. So they had a kiranya. That magical power, the Abamuhuru were known for magical powers. One of them was that when the enemies came, when the enemies came to rob them, the cattle, they would blow the magic, and they were very, very expert in treating diseases like we call it anthrax, anthrax. So when they did that one, so the cattle they took, they said that the disease there, and then the animals started dying because they didn't know how to treat. But the Abamuhuru people had the knowledge of treating that. So they would come, even the Kadem people, the same thing. That is one of the things. When they came to rob the cattle, they withdrew. Another one, which we are told, they had a kiranya of all the bushes turned into a fleet of army. When the enemies came, and then they went to hide in the caves like Riawamba. So they blew their kiranya, and then the bushes, the Nini, turned into a fleet of army chasing. So the enemies would run away, thinking, hey, these people are the new, but they are just a kiranya. That is Bill or now, whatever. Magic. So they were known for that in the old time. And those are the way which made us survive. We, after coming from the Siaya side and came to South Nyanza, we settled at a place called Rwancha in now Suba. Rwancha is in Suba, near Kisegi. And the culture or the main occupation of the Abamuhuru was hunting hippos. That is our occupation. So Abamuhuru were hunting people. They were known as hippo hunters. Now, in Rwancha, there were no rocks. So when they killed the hippos and had, the meat, so the meat had to be dried. And where to dry meat, they were drying it on the sand. So this sand became very uncomfortable for Wazees to eat, because when you eat. So in the course of hunting, they started hunting and came up to Kadem Bay here. And they saw those rocks there. So though they thought something must be good in those soil, so they started surveying, and they found so many hippos and with large rocks. Those are the warriors who came. And then they sent the message to the old men there with a fleet, now a cargo of meat, very clean meat. When the Wazees saw that meat, when they were eating, it was so nice. And then their leader said, now I must go to survey that country. If it is good, then we can go, we can move and settle there. So the Mzee, who was the leader, was called Mwikoma, came with his sons and surveyed, found hippos were there, rocks where to, dry the meat or reserve it, very good rocks. And then he went back and told his people that we are now to move, and we have got a good land this side. And the land, there were no people. There were very few people who were living there. Some people, they found some people called Abarumbasi, which were purported to be the slave Ninin, the slaves who were unable to go to the coast, and they were abandoned, so they were living there. So when Mwikoma came with these people, these men ran away, these people ran away, and only one Mzee who remained there, who said, let me remain, don't kill me. So the Mzee remained, and that one was called Nyakiancha. So Nyakiancha was a Mzee, he was a lone Mzee who remained there. That's what they found. Now the rocks played a very important role for the Abamuhuru. Now when they found the rocks, they also found that not only those rocks for drying meat, but they found caves for hiding, these caves. And they started building. They built a lot of, walls, the rock walls, to protect them.